to know is what areas is Pemex going to focus on, and what areas is it going to kind of, let's say, leave for my readers or be more keen for international participation? Because obviously Pemex can't do everything itself, so what are the priorities for Pemex when it comes to exploration and production?
Okay, well, let me start by saying that the investment for this year that was approved by the Congress is for the whole Pemex is $28 billion. For upstream activities is 24, which is roughly 10% more than the previous year, the 2013. From that, almost 11% will be allocated, and 11-12% will be allocated in exploration activities, specifically to keep our program on deep water exploration and continuing to explore in the other basins that we have interest, because we have found oil or hydrocarbons already. Those basins are the Southeast Basin, the Burgos Basin, Tampico-Misantla Basin, as well as the southern part of the deep water Gulf of Mexico. We are focusing our investment just to assess the potential that we have identified. We have an estimate on how much our prospective resources are. In terms of conventional prospective resources, we are roughly over 50 billion barrels of oil equivalent. So we still have a huge potential to explore, to convert those prospective resources into reserves. And the only way to do that is by drilling exploratory wells. The second part is the unconventional prospective resources. We have our own estimates of 60 billion oil equivalent barrels from conventional.
So we're talking about shale oil here?
Half of them, 34 billion, are shale oil, and the rest is roughly 26 billion oil equivalent barrels are shale gas or shale wet gas. So we are allocating important resources to assess that potential, because we know we have tremendous shale prospective resources, so we want to discover them. We want to convert into resources.
Because am I right in thinking that on the 21st of March, Pemex is going to tell the government what its priorities are, what the areas it wants are, and the areas that are less of a priority? That's correct, isn't it, on the 21st of March?
Well, it is, according to the presidential bill that was issued on December 20th, we have 90 days after the release of the bill. So 20 days we will be finishing by March 20th. But March 20th, Pemex will submit a set of areas for exploration and set of fields that we will be able to operate. And they will have 180 days to assess our proposal and to define if our request will be answered positively on the 100%, or they won't accept some of the areas we are asking to operate, and they will keep it for the state and to include into the round one. The round one will be equal opportunity for all the players which would like to participate, including Pemex. Pemex will be the same as any other player in round one. Round zero, which is the one we are talking about, the one with the deadline of March 20th, will be Pemex, the only player allowed to submit.
That's a nice situation to be in.
Well, that occurs in all the countries that has opening processes. The first round, the first pick is always for the national operator. So this will be the round zero for the national operator. We want to pick not all the areas that we are currently working out that, or that all the areas that we are currently have under analysis. Because we understand the purpose of the bill is to strengthen the oil industry in Mexico, to strengthen Pemex, but to give at the same time the opportunity to other players to participate in order to increase the execution capacity, bringing foreign investment, and that will help to increase the production, to increase the exploration capacity.
So I was just going to say, some analysts have said that Pemex is going to focus on shallow water, and that for the deep water it's going to partner with the international oil companies, and that the onshore shale gas Pemex is more or less going to leave. I mean, it might have like a 10% or 20% stake, but Pemex isn't really going to focus on that. I mean, is that broadly true? Is that the strategy that Pemex is going to take?
No, it's not precisely what you're saying. Well, what we are focusing is to have, as any other national oil company, to have a diversified portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
We have shallow waters indeed, because we have vast experience operating and producing those fields, but also mature fields, also onshore fields, oil and gas, conventional hydrocarbons areas, as well as deep waters, because we have put one of our largest bets
mm-hmm.
in exploring deep waters. We have been successful exploring deep waters. 5 out of 6 wells drilled in the Perito Folded Belt in the north part of the Mexican jurisdiction in the Gulf of Mexico
mm-hmm.
has been successful. So with that, we would like to be still exploring there, because we, with investments we have done to now, we have reduced the risk of that area, and we would like to participate. Exploring is it involves important amounts of capex,
mm-hmm.
but producing involves huge amounts of capex, and nobody goes alone on producing those areas already discovered. In the U.S. jurisdiction, in the same Gulf of Mexico, there is no standalone company that operates deep water fields. They go in partnership with some other 2, 3, even 4 or 5, and we, in the round zero, we are gonna request some areas, because we are sure that we can participate with other players in partnership. So this round zero should include a JV round
mm-hmm.
along with that, in order to strengthen the capacities of Pemex with other partners to establish the plans to produce in deep waters.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because I interviewed a former head of Pemex, Jesus Reyes. I think he was the head of Pemex in 2008 or...
From 2000 to 2006 and 2009.
And
the first 2 years of the British administration, yes.
And he was telling me, he was saying, until now, Pemex has been a very difficult situation because it hasn't been able to have proper partnerships with other oil companies. You know, it's had some kind of service contracts, but it hasn't really been able to partner. And he was saying, the key to Pemex's success in the future is it being able to strong these form partnerships that you're talking about. But I wanted to ask you, for a company like Pemex, which has had like a 75-year monopoly and it's got very strong culture, surely it's going to be difficult to try and change that culture and work with international oil companies. I mean, do you see that as a challenge, working with international oil companies? Do you think that will be a challenge for Pemex?
Yeah, well, for sure, it's changing from a monopoly company turning into another competitor in the oil industry in Mexico will be an important challenge for the company
mm-hmm.
itself. But at the same time, involves a cultural change. That cultural change represents maybe one of the most important challenges that we are facing, because we're turning into a public enterprise. Will have the same salary as the international market has. So it's an important it's a key issue that people within the company know that they will be paid according to the international standards.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are Mexico, we have salary bounded by the public authorities, because we belong to the state.
Mm-hmm.
We are public workers, and right now with this change, we won't be limited by the salary cap that the public servants have.
So do you think that Pemex is going to bring in some staff from the private sector to help bring about this cultural change? Do you think that you'll be bringing in some new staff from international oil companies?
Yeah, we are monitoring the market. We understand how the companies work, and we would like to have those same standards. But at the same time, we are engaged in a study to retain the human talent.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that with the coming of companies after the opening of the industry, for sure there will be offers with the higher salaries to our best technicians.
They're going to want people with Mexican experience. I did a report in Brazil, and the same thing happened with Petrobras.
The same happened in Brazil, the same happened in Colombia,
uh-huh.
the same happened in all the jurisdictions that has faced opening of the oil industries. So this will be the exception. We are aware of that.
For my final question, I just want you to look into the future, because right now there's a lot of speculation. So we've got this energy reform. People aren't quite sure how it's going to work out, how quickly it's going to develop. And what I'd like to ask you is, in 5 years' time, what sort of Pemex will we be looking at compared to the company that we've got today? How far will Pemex have changed, and what sort of company will Pemex be in 5 years' time?
Well, we envision our company first as a more and strengthened one, one with more competitiveness, people more committed to do their jobs, because they will have specific objectives to meet.
So a bit more dynamic.
Right now we have. We are the company that has the exclusive mandate to produce and explore in Mexico. Right now, and we have to get all the areas that are discovered or potential exploration. We have to get it because we have the mandate.
Mm-hmm.
But in 5 years, when the industry is fully open to competition, we will be focusing on the areas that we would like to keep, because they will be generating value to the country. So generating value to the country, as well as the other operators, will bring technology, will bring resources, they will bring experience to share, technology to share. In 5 years' time, we will be talking about a different Mexico. Different Mexico with a more powerful economy, with more jobs. As people have said, shale resources represent an important supply of gas. If we have a larger supply of gas, that will represent the lowest electricity costs, because electricity costs right now are derived from using fuel oil to generate power. So in 5 years' time, we see a competitive company. Company in the international arena. Mm-hmm. Will be an NOC strength, and recognized as a company with leadership, recognized as a company with strength and skills to compete wherever we would like to compete,
and
here, domestic or international.
And partially listed on the stock exchange. When we mentioned Ecopetrol, we mentioned Petrobras. They've partially listed. Do you ever see Pemex one day having 10-20% on the stock market?
Well, that's a matter that the Congress will have to define.
Yeah.
But it's not our business. Our business is focusing on generate value. generate value to the country, generate value to the company.
Excellent, Gustavo. Thank you.
My pleasure.